Hello, beautiful, amazing, fantastic world, and you, beautiful, beautiful individual you. Today, I would like to speak about holding space, setting the atmosphere to mirror and reflect in consciousness all the inner emotions and thoughts, well, as we said, set intentions, that are meant to come upwards to be experienced so that we can acknowledge them, transform them, and redeem them. If we let all of these I just mentioned fester and just lay down there without being acknowledged, running away from them more or less, the more they will build up and they will become, mildly put, hassles in life. They will become quirks and impulses that not necessarily will be beneficial to building from individual to individual connections and warmth, by setting the space for yourself at first. That is the first step, really. It's the setting the intention and the space of allowing yourself to feel sadness, catharsis, a release of the emotions that has been suppressed for so long. The same with thoughts that might have, become clustered and like a web, like a thin spider's web that can shatter in moments because it is not really concrete and real in its sense of experiencing them. It is more a speculation or a lukewarm theory. But one thing you can experience is you in the moment, allowing the space for you to feel whatever needs to be gone through for you, for me to develop. When you can set the atmosphere for yourself to heal your inner soul faculties with your spiritual inner being. You see, soul searching, we need spirit to soul search. Your spirit is what searches within the soul. It's the active part. Of course, it needs to be rooted in the Christ principle if we are to have warmth and morality, love, dignity, decency as human beings. And the comfort, of as long as I keep on going, as long as I hold the space and move forward in the promptings and in the wise guidance of our higher selves, which constantly leads us through pain, leads us through sadness, leads us through experiences that without them you wouldn't be who you are today. And be grateful for these many things. And feeling that grace that comes when you truly know that there are far more things in this world than empathies and antipathies to our current individual situation. It is far greater than that. Although we are connected and collected through experiences and strivings and failures and thoughts, feelings and emotions sink into a singular point. But when you reach the higher realms, we are living within each other. We are constantly affecting and working and swaying each other through the spiritual forces that is laying there. When you can hold the atmosphere, you can do it for others too. You can allow the moment, the soul, the spirit to play itself out in the eternal right here now. You allow these things to come forth because you do not plan it. You do not tactically you set in atmosphere, intention, and then you allow yourself to consciously experience things. Then you can reflect upon them in a more meticulous sense. First, you need to experience them wholeheartedly, fully, and as pure as possible. And then afterwards, through memory. Because when you experience something consciously, you remember them. Once you remember them, you can reflect upon the memories. The vague and the shadowy-like feelings that occurred can become truly clear and not only a reflective image, but truly it's happening then and there. And what came out of it from your own soul and spirit, what was built upon your character already. As we say, when we are practicing these things, for every step of development, 3 steps of building character and morality and human decency and compassion. It is so important, because if we don't, it is so easy to fall into temptations of misusing these things. It's all about the honesty and the transparency. So when you show yourself, you show all of you. You don't try to hide anything specifically, you don't try to control and sway the moment towards where you want it necessarily. But you allow things to play, and what comes out of you, you will also have to set the space to allow what comes out of others to come out there, and not completely overrun and overdrive. No, we are more than one ego here in the physical, you see. So allowing that other human being, you as an individual, to be creative, to listen to yourself. Because when you are with other human beings, you become extra aware of your own inner being, right? Then you can see what comes out there. What is the intentions? What is coming, bubbling up to the surface? Or comes inspired from outside. In the spiritual world, there is really no difference. But here, as a singular point, as individuals in the physical, what comes out, and by the help of other individuals, you can reflect that within yourself, and others can reflect within themselves what you put out, and so on and so forth. So when you set the atmosphere, now I am a person that takes sadness alone. I like to experience them and fully acknowledge and release them, because things becomes very often, there are many opinions that might get in the way, and I know my sadness the best. That is what I wanted to come into a conclusion about. But I always take with me, when you consciously go through emotions like sadness, and it doesn't happen that it is not, you are not eternally sad, obviously, that speaks for itself. But there are moments. Do you acknowledge them or do you deny them? That is the difference. When you set the space, allow yourself to feel them, because they are your emotions, you release them, catharsis. You transform them to character strengths. From weaknesses to strengths. Our weaknesses has to be consciously acknowledged, gone through emotionally, thoughtfully, with meticulousness, with a certain directness. We cannot be afraid of it. For as long as we stick to the Christ principle, the morality, the love, and the right intention, you will not be, tempted by beings that wish you to do something that you, if you were conscious, never would do. That is the thing. When you are conscious, no being can take over your faculties unless you allow them to. It is about holding to certain values and morality so you don't become swayed in that specific area. There are certain areas that are just, you just don't compromise on them, unless we want to have pain, even more than, not really pain either, it is more consequences of something that we could have avoided because we had the insight to do so. But since we were asleep, and since we reacted and had an impulse to do so, we made it a lot worse, and hence we have to use extra time on making amends for it. That was just an example, of course, but it is all about decency and the dignity. That makes things easier. So, and not being afraid of one's own emotions. Because if there is turmoil and if there is a lack of control within our own inner being, it often is because we neglect to master our own inner being. We deny the possibility of doing so. But it is fully possible. Oh, it is fully possible. But if you say it is not, it is arbitrary. It is something you haven't experienced and you believe that is not the case, then it's because you haven't experienced it. But many have, and many will. So it is all about having that flexibility and openness to research and make a study in morality. Remember, I just love that saying. For every step of development, 3 steps of building character and morality. So, I will leave you with this today. Beautiful, beautiful world and day. It was a nice little moment, right? At least I hope so, for your experience, of course. It is all about acknowledgement, and it's all about human decency. Can you hold to it, or do you believe it is not possible, since there are so many things that proves you wrong? But you don't need to prove yourself wrong. You can still do it. Don't let what others do sway you like that, especially when it comes to morality, compassion, love, understanding. And that is why we hold and set space. Setting ourselves aside a little, so that things can come in a creative. We are still ourselves centered here, but all our interest, all our biases, all our wanting to sway to one or another, we leave aside, so that things can occur. But we are conscious here about it, so we can remember and reflect upon it later. May Father, Holy Spirit, Christ, Michael, higher hierarchy, ancient masters of old, ancestors from every incarnation, the Godhead, seraphim, cherubim, thrones, kyriadetes, dynamis, exousiae, archai, archangeloi, angeloi, all bless, protect, guide, and love you on your amazing, beautiful path to development, and allowing yourself the space to grow, to mature, to become conscious and alive, awake, have a will to live, a creative flow, an open channel to what is good, true, and beautiful, a warm heart. There is many words for it, but you know it is a reality because it can be experienced and you can do it in action, feeling, and thought. I love you so much. Bless you. Goodbye.